cast an eye now to COSATU's May Day rally in Cape Town, where this year the Labour Union marched against gender-based violence. Hundreds of COSATU members headed to the Langa police station to hand over the memorandum to the police provincial commissioner. Our reporter Ronald Masinda has been following that story and joins us now for an update. So it would seem, Ronald, that the rally that you attended, at least in Cape Town, wasn't as dramatic as what we saw happening in Royal Bafokeng in the northwest, but nonetheless on a very important issue, isn't it? Tell us why COSATU chose Langa specifically as the site of their dramatization of their demands and grievances.
Good afternoon, Tulas. Well, COSATU chose Langa because for several months there have been several cases of femicide reported in Langa. We heard of a woman who was shot and killed shortly after she returned from church. We also, in a story that we also covered here on channel, a body of a lady was found near a canal near an informal settlement in Langa. She was stabbed to death. A few hours afterwards, the alleged perpetrator was killed by an angry mob. Now, what we have been told by the people in Langa for that particular case is that the alleged perpetrator was an abusive man who abused the cousin of this lady, and this lady's crime was to report this matter to the police. In another matter, a lady was shot and killed at her house. The motive for her death is still unknown. So COSATU went and handed in a memorandum. On that memorandum, it contains 17 demands. Some of the demands are they want police who are involved in domestic violence to be dismissed. They also want police to be dismissed if they don't investigate cases of domestic violence. They also want the end of victimization of women who come forward complaining about that they were raped. Like recently when we visited Langa, we also heard of an 11-year-old who was allegedly raped. A 7-year-old who was with her managed to escape. And this angered people in Langa who chose to take matters into their own hands because they felt that the police were simply not doing enough. So it's for that reason why COSATU marched earlier. We heard from Frida Oosthuizen of COSATU. This is what she had to say.
Community don't trust the police so much, and they think that this is the feeling of the community. If the person is arrested today, tomorrow he walks in the street again, he passes you. He's out on bail maybe, or there's nothing about the case. They don't hear about the case. So we are urging the community not to take the law in their own hands, but rather take the person to the police than to burn the person or to kill the person. We don't want mob violence. We are stressing the point to say don't take matters into your own hands, rather report it. If you feel that you don't get satisfaction, contact us as COSATU. We will know how to deal with the matter. And also we have a trade union as pop crew in COSATU that can deal with this matter also.
And there seemed to be some disappointment over the police commissioners dealing with these matters. What are some of the views about policing in the area?
So just on that particular matter, so according to COSATU, they were very disappointed that Thimisile Patekile was not present. They say this has become the norm where high-ranking officials tend to deploy junior staff members to collect memorandums. According to Patekile, who I managed to speak to earlier, he says that he was simply not informed about this gathering and that he would have attended had he been invited. And Gwete Mantashe, who we also heard from yesterday, this afternoon rather, he also said that, he is actually not angry that the police commissioner was not present and that it was the duty of Pop Crew to ensure that he was present because he has to account for the demands made by people. And we also heard from Frida Oosthuizen with regards to the issue of policing in areas such as Langa, where understaffing, and also the issue of police simply not caring enough when people want to report cases. Many people are not reporting issues of crime because of that. She had this to say further.
We especially take this area as Langa, because when you look at the statistics, you will see that the gender-based violence and the crime against women, children, and also LGBTQ is very high in Langa. But it's not only Langa, it is the whole Western Cape. Currently in the Nova Park, there's gang violence. In Mitchell's Plain, there's also gang violence. There's shooting everywhere. And it seems like we cannot be protected by the police because the police is not enough where manhood is concerned. And today we make a plea to our communities to say protect each other, stand up for each other. Because a lot of crimes is not reported to the police. People are just keeping quiet because they are scared and they are fearful. And also sometimes you don't get the correct help from the police also, the attitude sometimes from the police. And it's for that reason that COSATU said, today we take Langa and we address this problem.
All right, thank you for that. That's eNCA's Ronald Masinda, having covered the COSATU Western Cape leg of the May Day commemorations that included a march around issues of violence meted out by men against women in our society.